Hey, welcome. It's Brian, and this is Guitar Solo Reactions. But today, we're going to react to the new Rolling Stone article on the top 250 guitar players of all time. I looked through it. I can't say that I agree with most, and today we are just going to address the top 25. I'll maybe interject kind of my top 25, and you can obviously in the comments list maybe even your top 5, top 10. You don't have to do 25. I'll kind of add in some of the ones I've written down that have been missed, and I'll just kind of go through these top 25 really quickly and agree or disagree. And so at 25, we have John Versante, obviously a great composer. I really respect him. I would not say he's in my top 25. Next, we have James Burton, who I agree is definitely kind of a pretty fundamental figure in early guitar playing, and obviously he went through and did all sorts of great stuff, kind of combining kind of country and kind of roots rock before it was called that, and kind of doing all sorts of kind of pop stuff from the probably 60s, 70s, maybe 80s. Not super familiar with him. Next, we have James Hetfield and Kirk Hammett. I love them. I don't think they're in the top 25, but what I will say for this article, that Rolling Stone not only included James and Kirk, but also Adrian and Dave from Iron Maiden, and KK and Glenn from Judas Priest. I thought that was great. They were not in the top 100, I don't think, but they were close. Next is Albert King. I'm not a huge blues fan, so I would not put him on my list. Great player, but I would not say that. Randy Rhoads is 21. I would definitely put him in my top 25 for sure. Stevie Ray Vaughan, as much as I love Stevie, I would not put him in my top 25. That would be in the top 100, but not 25. Freddie King, again, there's a lot of really great blues players on this list, which I'm happy to see. But like I said, not a huge blues fan, so I would put him not in the top 250, to be honest. Next is Tom Morello, who I definitely dig. I, again, would not put him probably in my top 100, as much as I think he was an influential player to a lot of younger people. And when that first record came out, the Rage Against the Machine record, I was definitely blown away by it and loved it, and still love hearing it when I occasionally, check it out or whatever. So next is Mother Maybelle Carter. Don't know anything about her, so she would not be on my list of top 250 at all. Next is Robert Johnson, who we know is kind of the cornerstone Delta blues player. Incredible player. Again, I would put him maybe in my top 100, but not my top 25. Next is Keith Richards. He would not figure in my list at all, maybe in the top 500. Prince would definitely be in my top 25, one of the most underrated guitar players, not by Rolling Stone, weirdly, and he would definitely be in my top 25. Next, Tony Iommi would be in my top 5, one of the most, for me, not necessarily influential as a player, but I've just listened to Black Sabbath since I've been 10, and I still listen to it today, and I'm still blown away by what a great band they were and are, and what a great creative player he is. Next is Jimmy Nolan. I am not familiar with him at all. So, James Brown. So, yeah, I wouldn't even know. I kind of recognize the name, but he would not be in my top 250. Carlos Santana, he might be, he's here at 11. He might be in my top 25, depending on the day. Definitely love Carlos, so there's that. Dwayne Allman, I would definitely say he would be in the top 25. I think the only thing that would push him out of the top 25 is I would probably kind of lean more towards Dickie Betts, from my opinion. Joni Mitchell, as incredible as a composer, singer, and influential guitar player she is, for me, I would put her in the top 50, but not my top 25. So what's next? Another looks like BB King, maybe in the top 250. Nile Rodgers, love a lot of his work and all his production work. I would probably put him in the top 250, but not 25. Next to Sister Rosetta Tharp, I can't say I know much about her. I've seen the name forever and people talk about her, so that would be something I'd have to check out more, but she might be in the top 250 as well. Um, Jeff Beck would probably be very close to my top five, definitely in my top 10. One of my favorite guitar players of all time. And he died kind of at his peak almost. I mean, his playing over the last decade, the times I've seen him, and the last couple of records, actually, the records starting around 2000, those three were really great, and I love those. And I saw him several times since those, and a lot of times pretty amazing. And I still think that, obviously, today. So, yes to Jeff Beck. Eddie Van Halen would definitely be in my top 25. Again, not a super influential player on me, but he changed guitar, and we all know that. So that's not an argument. Jimmy Page, he might be in my top 25, depending on the day again. So I definitely love Jimmy Page and Led Zeppelin. One of the most creative guitar players of all time, and that's what I'll say. Incredible composer. I never bought into the whole he's sloppy thing. If people say that, I just, whatever. You don't write amazing songs like that and not have an amazing creative spirit. So, Chuck Berry, that one's kind of funny because, he essentially was at the beginning of rock guitar playing, and some of those licks he does that were in, I'm trying to think of Johnny Be Good, sorry. That song in particular has all the bending and double stop stuff that you were hearing probably, yesterday. So he definitely influenced the guitar playing a lot. So I might put him in the top 50. I can't say, I think he's a great guitar player or whatever. And so, yeah, top 50. Jimi Hendrix definitely would be in my top 10. I think he's another one that gets maligned for being maybe sloppy at certain times, but for someone that died at 30 and put out basically three official records, we didn't see where he was going to go. And for me, that later period, right before he died, there's a lot of transition happening, and I think we would have saw a lot of incredible things come out of him, whether it was more of a cool jazz rock thing, or him playing with Miles, or a million different things. And that's the same thing with Randy. Randy got a couple records with Quiet Riot, which are not very good, and then he got two records with Ozzy, and I think he was just getting better and better and better. It was also my first concert, was the first Blizzard of Oz tour, seeing Randy with Ozzy and Motorhead opened. So I listened to those records not as frequently as I did, as far as like Diary of a Madman. I love that record, and I love the first one too. But Diary, compositionally speaking, Randy was incredible, and I even love his guitar tone, which can be kind of a divisive point to take or position to take. So anyway, love Randy. So there's probably five or six I agree with in the top 25. The ones that I would put in my top 25, and I'll be reading them, are John McLaughlin, Robert Fripp, Al Di Meola, Frank Zappa. Frank Zappa's on this list, and so is John McLaughlin, but they're in the hundreds or something. Trey Anastasio definitely would be on that list in that top 25. Bill Frisell, Pat Metheny, Mark Rebo. Steve Howe, maybe in the top 50. I'm kind of squeezing a lot into 25. So Alex Lifeson, he is mentioned on this list. He's like 59, I think. Who isn't mentioned is Michael Schenker as well. Al Di Meola wasn't as well. I mentioned that earlier. I would also say Alan Holdsworth. So maybe I'm going to be my top 35. But Alan Holdsworth isn't on this list, which I find kind of absurd. Even if you don't listen to fusion or whatever, you have to admire what an incredible, innovative voice he was on guitar. Brandon Ross, who's done lots of stuff with Henry Threadgill, he's a guy I really dig, and he would probably be close to that top 25 if I made a huge list, you know. Um, let's see, Brent Hines from Mastodon, love him. He's an incredible player. So's Bill. Both of those guys are great. They should be on that list of the dual guitar things like Kirk and James and Glenn and KK from Judas Priest and Dave and Adrian from Iron Maiden. I think they're in that realm as well. And I would also mention the guys from Skeleton Witch, Scott and Nate. Those guys are incredible dual guitar players and more modern players. There is not a lot of modern players, modern metal players on that list. I didn't think I saw any. I saw a lot of new kind of, well, probably out of the 250, there was 50 I'd never heard of. And that's not to diminish them, but it's just things that I probably have no idea what they are. Uh, um, Scotty LePage from Polyphia and Tim. Tim was on there on that list, but Scotty wasn't, and I thought that'd be a great dual guitar thing as well. Maybe not give them both a number, but put them both on there. I think Scotty doesn't get the due he's owed as far as critically, as far as I'm concerned. And that's kind of it. And I have a million more. Raul Bjorkenheim, Steve Tibbetts, lots of the ECM guys, John Abercrombie, John Schofield, Mike Stern, a lot of fusion guys, a lot of metal guys too, but I was just kind of sticking with what traditionally what I would think of more of a guitar hero or great guitar players of all time. So anyway, hey, let me know if you agree. Interject what you think would be your top 25, 35, 5, 10, whatever. And thanks for watching. And like I said, I am no fan of the Rolling Stone. I think I bought one, and that was when Frank Zappa died. And of course, they did kind of a half-assed job when it came to his eulogy. I thought it was half-baked. A great magazine that was for musicians was called Musician, and that was an incredible magazine. It was journalistically really great. It covered all sorts of players, not just guitar players, but bands, from independent, like college rock bands. I'm talking the 80s to Adrian Belew, Robert Fripp, jazz players, rock players, blues players. Also, like different players from around the world. And I think the one thing the Rolling Stone does mention is Mdou Mokhtar and Bambino, those guys from Northern Africa that are incredible guitar players. I like that they're in there. So there was some really cool mentions. And they mentioned Mark Rebo. I would say 50% of what I said would be in my top 35 were on their list, just not where they should be as far as position. So anyway, I just thought I would get on and do something a little bit different. I saw that list and I thought I'd be agree with most of it. And when I looked through the first 100, I was like, yeah, I don't know who any of them are. And they're not even the ones that I've at least heard of. So that's my position. And I thought, God, I have to chime in and say something. So I am Brian. This is normally Guitar Solo Reactions, but today we're talking about the Rolling Stone Top 250. And so, yeah, please like, subscribe, and comment if this is your kind of thing. And I appreciate it. And I'll see you soon.